I was wrong when I said you cannot apply for Biden's parole-in-place program if you have a permanent bar. So in a couple videos that I made leading up to the release of the program, I speculated that the permanent bar won't get fixed by applying for parole. And that's still true, but there was something I hadn't considered. So in the frequently asked questions for the Biden parole-in-place program, it specifically says, if you are granted parole in place under this process and you subsequently apply for adjustment of status, you will be evaluated for admissibility at that stage. And they're referring specifically to the permanent bar. What this means is that you can still apply for the parole-in-place program and get paroled, but you probably still won't be able to apply for adjustment of status if you have a permanent bar. But you might still want to apply for parole in place because it allows you to obtain employment authorization. The problem is you'll probably still be ineligible for adjustment of status. So who has a permanent bar? There are a few situations that clearly lead to a permanent bar. The first one is if you've entered the United States after the age of 18, accrued more than 180 days of unlawful presence, and then you departed the United States and re-entered within 3 years, you probably have a permanent bar because the moment you left, you triggered a 3-year bar from re-entering. And if you violated that by re-entering without applying for anything in the interim, like an unlawful presence waiver, then you're subject to a permanent bar. Another situation is if you're over the age of 18 and you get an expedited removal order or a regular removal order from an actual immigration judge, and then you re-enter the US in a short period of time. For expedited removal, it's within 5 years. For an actual full removal order from a judge, it's 10 years if you didn't apply for any other immigration benefits in the interim, like an I-212, which is advance permission to re-enter the US, or any waivers. So in those situations, basically, if you've illegally re-entered the US more than one time, there's a chance that you are subject to a permanent bar. And that makes you ineligible for adjustment of status in some situations. Fixing your illegal entry isn't going to just make you eligible for adjustment of status in many of those situations, but you are still eligible to apply for the parole program, and you will be able to get employment authorization out of it if you qualify and you meet all the other requirements. An interesting side note here, for many people who have negative factors in their case, such as an old removal order or even minor criminal history, USCIS has taken the position that there will be a presumption of ineligibility, and then you can rebut or overcome that presumption by submitting evidence that you're a good person and you deserve to have your case granted and things like that. But for the permanent bar, they don't make any such mention of that. So I presume that there is no presumption of ineligibility. So we don't need to submit additional evidence of your good character and things like that. But again, even if it gets approved, if you have a permanent bar, you're still not going to be able to apply for adjustment of status. So you would just be doing it for the employment authorization or until there have been some change in the immigration law. Alright guys, I just wanted to make a short video on this topic. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. I've been doing a couple consultations where this was the actual issue, and I wanted to correct a mistake that I made in my earlier videos where I speculated that you won't be eligible to apply for this program if you have a permanent bar issue. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments below. If you want to speak with me directly, you could always contact my office, schedule a consultation directly with me. You can view my contact information in the video description below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week for another video.